felt this before. Someone you loved stopped loving you back, and it felt like actual physical pain. Not sadness. Pain. And that feeling didn't start with you, it's tens of thousands of years old. Ancient humans didn't get to numb it with a phone, a group chat, or a night out with friends. They got none of that. No privacy. No taking space. No blocking anyone, so how did they survive it? Let's get into it. Right now, if things end with someone, you get to control the story, who finds out, and when. Ancient humans didn't have that option. Bands were tiny, 20 or 30 people, living inside each other's field of vision, all day, every day. There was no bedroom door to close. No, I need to process this alone. If a couple split, the whole group usually knew before the two people had even processed it themselves. It wasn't whispered about later. It was watched in real time. Imagine your worst breakup happening in front of an audience that never left. That's not a metaphor. That's just Tuesday, for most of human history. Here's where it gets genuinely strange. Scientists scanned the brains of people who'd just been dumped, while they were still in love with the person who rejected them. The brain activity didn't look like sadness. It looked like cocaine withdrawal. Same reward circuits. Same craving. Same obsessive, can't stop thinking about it loop that addiction produces. Evolution didn't build a separate system for love. It borrowed the one for food and safety. So when you feel addicted to an ex, you're not exaggerating. That's just how the machine works. And it gets worse. Subscribe, because it's about to get uncomfortable. Scientists gave the post-breakup phase a name, the protest response. It's not just moping. It's an active, obsessive campaign, checking, replaying memories, trying to win the person back. Your body isn't sad. Your body is protesting. It's throwing a tantrum because something it was chemically dependent on got taken away. Here's the part that should make you feel better, though. The pain is measurable, and it fades on a schedule. It's not permanent. Your brain is quietly rewiring itself out of the craving, whether you consciously do anything about it or not. Ancient humans didn't know any of this science. But they lived through the same clock, on repeat, for their entire existence. Today, after a breakup, you can go no contact. Delete the number. Avoid the neighborhood. Never see them again if you choose. Ancient humans did not get that option. Small, mobile bans meant you likely saw your ex constantly, sharing meals, sharing shelter, sharing every single day. For months, sometimes years. There was no cooling off period. Ancient heartbreak wasn't something you escaped. It was something you had to sit inside of, in public, next to the person who caused it, because there was nowhere else to go. This next one sounds almost cruel, but the anthropology backs it up. Researchers studying groups like the Hadza in Tanzania found something wild. Divorce rates tracked something called the operational sex ratio, how many available partners were around at any given time. More available partners floating around. Higher breakup rates. Fewer. People stayed together longer. Heartbreak, in other words, had a hidden economic engine running underneath it. It wasn't purely about love fading. It was partly about opportunity. In some of these societies, a marriage could simply end because the couple stopped living together. No ceremony. No paperwork. Now here's something most videos on this topic skip, because it's uncomfortable. Jealousy in these small, tightly packed communities sometimes escalated into serious violence. There was no anonymity to hide behind, no way to just move to a new town and start over. That's the part nobody puts on the thumbnail. But it's real. If heartbreak came from loss instead of leaving, grief wasn't private either. There was no quietly crying alone in your room. Mourning was loud, public, and performative. It signaled to everyone around you, I need support right now. Grief was a group project, not a solo one. And widowhood didn't last long, remarriage after a partner's death was common, almost built into the culture. Here's the twist that flips the whole video on its head. We assume ancient pairing was built on romantic love, two people meeting, feeling a spark, choosing each other. The evidence suggests something colder, pairing that functioned like a peace treaty between families. Some researchers argue arranged pairing goes back to the very first human migrations out of Africa. Last one, and it explains basically every bad decision anyone's ever made after a breakup. There's a real effect called frustration attraction. Obstacles to love don't shut the craving down, they intensify it. Your brain isn't built to walk away from an obstacle. It's built to chase it harder. Ancient humans felt this exact same pull, because the wiring was already ancient by the time any of us showed up. So no, ancient humans didn't have breakup playlists or no contact rules. What they had was worse, in some ways. No privacy. No escape. An audience for every heartbreak, and sometimes, no way out of seeing the person again for months. But they also had something we've lost a little bit of, a group that showed up when grief got loud. And forced you back into connection instead of letting you disappear into isolation. Heartbreak hasn't changed in 100,000 years. Just the walls we hide it behind. If this hit different, you know what to do.